welcome to another episode of Allegedly NYC. I'm Nomi Ruiz.
And I'm Eva Sanjuro.
And we are your New Yorkers for life.
For life.
If you ever want a seat at the table, you got one here.
You know what? I made empanadas.
Oh my God, I got the Bustelo. Oh my God. I'm traumatized from Bustelo now with my mom.
Girl, I'm traumatized by everything this week.
My mom literally told me how she made her last boyfriend cry.
Oh.
Because he was during sex. Yeah. Should I not say that on
No, just keep on going. So I just want to fight through this. I'm just gonna pull.
That was always I was literally making Bustelo and my mom's like, I gotta tell you something, mija.
Oh Christ.
She's like, I made him cry.
Oh, I made him cry.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Girl, the apple and the tree is like boop, an eighth of an inch apart from each other.
Some wine. How are you doing this week?
Good. I love martinis this week. I've been hungover since.
I started
a martini party.
Yeah,
I started a martini party. Nomi and I met up on Wednesday.
Ava randomly texts me. She's like, I'm gonna have a craving for martini. No, she says my teeth are itching for a martini.
That's what I
exactly
said.
what she said. And I'm like, girl, I'm willing,
able,
and I'm on the train right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. The strongest hangover that I've had in a long time. But I pulled through.
It was special.
I pulled through.
It was special.
Oh my God. And it was real. It was real. I honestly haven't felt that way in a long. I forgot you're just drinking vodka with a twist.
With a twist.
You had olives.
You were drinking vodka.
Yeah.
That's right. You were drinking vodka.
I was
drinking gin.
Yeah, you had gin martinis and had vodka martinis.
Yeah.
And I regret life.
I remember we were saying that in the morning we felt like that scene with Uma Thurman in Kill Bill when she was trying to get out the coffin.
Yes. I was like, get me out.
This is me, like us in bed, like it's just not happening.
It's not happening. It was real.
Oh my God, it was super real.
But overall, really great week.
It's a good week.
It's not that I wanted to die.
I think it's tea time.
Oh, girl. You know what?
How do you take your tea?
I think I want a little ginger this week. I want a little ginger, because
a little ginger or like a tall, like 6'2" ginger.
I'm not into gingers. Trauma.
All right. Well, are you a ginger if you're bald? Does it still count?
If the curtain matches the what do you want
if the curtain matches the roof?
Yeah. That means you'll fix your roof.
Okay. Oh my God. Well, okay, this tea is fresh off the presses. The screenwriter and producer of the movie Harriet, about abolitionist Harriet Tubman, has said that Julia Roberts was originally supposed to play the lead role of Harriet.
They're just obsessed with white people playing every fucking role.
I cannot.
What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
Gregory Allen Howard said, one studio head said in a meeting, "This script is fantastic. Let's get Julia Roberts to play Harriet Tubman."
Are you fucking kidding me? Yo, you know how many times in Hollywood, like, I didn't realize because I got into Johnny Cash, before the movie came out, right? Mm-hmm. And I realized his first wife is legit like hard. She's brown, but in the movie version, she is like this lily white woman.
Who played her? It was the girl from Big Little Lies, right?
No, close. Big. Oh God, what's the name of that? About the polygamy. Whatever. She's white.
Not her. I don't know that woman.
Yeah, we never met.
Oh my God.
But Hollywood just loves to just switch that shit
up. It's so weird. Like, look
at Angelina Jolie play that brown girl with the, remember?
Oh my God, yeah. It was she was like French, African, Chinese, Cuban, Dutch, like
not white.
A combination of all the things that are not white.
Yeah, she had my texture. She had my skin tone and texture. But no, let's just get Angelina Jolie in brown face.
Oh my God, it was literally with the wig. I remember that wig.
Yeah, it was a crunchy wig.
I'm a fan of Angelina, but I never saw that movie. I don't know her.
I would never.
I don't know that man.
I'll see all Tomb Raiders.
I don't know that man. They said when someone pointed out that Roberts would be couldn't be Harriet, the executive responded, "It was so long ago. No one's gonna know the difference."
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Girl.
So long ago? Like, I don't know what that person's nationality is, but like, let's say they were of any background that went through some like history trauma, they would not be cool with that.
No, it's so weird. No, I mean, that's just like,
come on.
I mean, like I don't even.
That's so,
understand how
and
that's
then I'm sure Julia Roberts. Oh,
is it a bird?
I heard something just shit on my fucking face.
Is it a bird?
It's a fucking bird that just shit on me.
No, it's who is it?
It's motherfucking Lana.
It's Lana. What do you want from us, girl?
So just before we decided to talk to you today,
choices.
Nomi and I had a beautiful dinner. Nomi made this amazing dinner, and we're like, all right, oh girl, you turned it. Like I wish there was more left. Lentils,
Cajun lentils,
oof,
roasted carrots,
roasted to perfection. So we're like, all right, let's just try this last Lana album. Again,
well,
while
right,
we're eating.
she was nominated for a Grammy now. Because we're trying to figure out.
I'm trying to figure out our last album.
The big buzz.
What's the big
album.
buzz? Because this is not my favorite. I'll tell you the truth. We're
just
hard fans.
So the Grammy nomination came, and we were like, all right. I guess we got to give it one more shot.
Let's just do this.
So we had our
We talked through the whole thing.
We had one.
Because it didn't attract us.
Girl, she's still singing about party dresses. She's like a grown woman now.
She writes lyrics like she was writing it in back of a Trapper Keeper. Like, oh my God.
I had a Garfield Trapper Keeper.
I had some unicorn with a rainbow.
Oh my God, I had that one too.
Yeah. And that's why we're friends.
That's why we're besties. But like, I wish she would like co-write a song with Tori Amos.
Ooh,
like, can Tori Amos write your lyrics now?
Oh my God,
right?
that
like,
would
I want
be amazing.
Give
me her and like Harley Simon.
Yeah,
even.
Exactly. Come back to New York.
You know, see if he's up to, because you already did that.
I was gonna say Lost for. I keep saying her album.
That
was
a Freudian slip I've ever heard.
That was my album.
That was my album.
But her album was Lust for Life.
You could also find on
iTunes,
Amazon. YouTube, every Amazon.
Well, also during a recent performance, Lana was performing the song "Cinnamon Girl." And she changed the lyrics to "My vape is killing me," while she grabbed her throat.
Oh,
you can see her smoking a vape in her recent video.
I believe in cigarettes. I just don't.
Girl, you're a traditional.
I'm you know what? I'm an old school girl with old school values.
Yeah.
And I believe in Marlboro Lights.
Oh my God.
When needed.
Well, allegedly vapes are mad dangerous for you, like worse than cigarettes.
Yeah, I heard. I mean, everyone's
dying.
I'm like, just smoke cigarettes.
You're so stupid.
Cigarettes, we already know that do it, but at least we have more time. Like, vape is like one day to the next, and cigarettes like, I don't want to die like maybe 20 years.
I like a slow death.
I love a slow death.
I'm suicidal, but I'm going to take my time.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to take every inch of that
oh my God.
razor to my wrist.
Well, today we have another special episode with a special guest, Victoria Beltran.
The gorgeous
model,
Victoria.
actress. New York City scandal.
Oh, I love a scandal.
I love a scandal.
Girl, I love all my girls with a scandal.
Girl, every time I bump into her in a club, I know I'm going to have a good time.
You know what?
Ditto. Like, you just made my night.
I remember seeing her shadow in a club. And I just saw a shadow with full gorgeous profile, and then she came out and I was like, I'm staying. Because normally I would usually leave at that point. Because I'm the first one to get there and the first one to leave.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, we're going to get Victoria's perspective on disclosure and talk about her journey from Texas as a Mexican American born and raised in Texas to a New York model actress hustling in the Hollywood scene.
I'm sure she has stories for days, nights, and weekend minutes.
Well, we'll be right back after this with Victoria Beltran.
Victoria. Oh, I just burned myself.
You're listening to Allegedly NYC. Allegedly. All right, and we're back with a very special guest.
A gorgeous guest.
A gorgeous model, actress, nightlife empress.
Just a girl just down the block.
Just the girl next door. The girl next door now.
The Mexican girl next door.
The Mexican girl with all that flavor next door. Victoria Beltran.
Yes.
Welcome to Allegedly.
Welcome, girl.
Thank you for having me. Yay.
Thank you so much.
so happy to be here on this cozy night.
Cozy night. I actually have heat today, so we're on fire.
Oh, right, you can hear the steam.
There's steam today.
That's realness.
That's
when you
real.
hear the New York steam in the back.
And champagne.
I hear that pipe.
Ooh, we love that pipe.
Champagne and heat.
I love a
Let's
good
have a,
cheers,
let's have a
girls.
moment. Cheers.
I love
Oh
a
my
steamy
gosh.
pipe. Cheers.
Thank you so
my God.
much.
Victoria brought Ava some gorgeous incense. What is incense?
It's
Yes.
Maldivite.
What is Maldivite?
Going.
It's a meteor that hit the Earth in, I think it was Russia, and then now they make like really expensive crystals and stuff out of it.
Maybe I should put it more
But if you
closer
can't
to
afford
us.
the crystals, you can at least
No?
buy the
Okay.
incense.
Okay.
Gorgeous.
And it makes your house smell like space.
I honestly, I'm
was the one thing
I'm
missing.
being teleported as we speak.
That was the one thing missing from your apartment was the smell of space.
If you want to
Exactly.
walk on the moon, you just light some Maldivite.
It smells amazing.
Gorgeous.
We just took it to the next level in here.
Well, Victoria, we met like out in the night. We went like dancing. That's how I remember.
I remember
out.
too. I met you before we met because I would listen to your music
Oh, gorgeous.
constantly, all the time, nonstop. My friends, I had an apartment. My apartment before my East Village apartment was in Hell's Kitchen. And you know those Hell's Kitchen queens like to come over at all hours to Victoria's apartment.
Oh yes.
And they would just come over and I would always be playing your music. White Horse and all the songs.
Such a good song.
And then one night I was out and everybody was like, this is Naomi. And I was like, who's she? I've never seen her before. She's gorgeous. Who is she? She's fish. She's real. She's real. Oh, we can say real? We can say real.
No, we can say real. We can say fish,
She's
real.
fucking realness, honey. And then they were like, yeah, she's Naomi from Jessica 6. And I was just gagging.
Yeah.
And I remember when we sat next to each other, I told my friend, I said, tell her what we listen to every day in my apartment, nonstop on repeat. He goes, that song, the song, why? Leave me alone. And I was like, no, tell her. Because we were busy, it's nightlife. And I said, he's like, the song, White Horse.
Oh my god, I love it.
Well, you're from Texas.
I'm from Texas.
Your
I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yum.
For Eva Longoria is from Corpus Christi.
Oh,
Selena
Oh, Selena.
is from Corpus Christi. Farrah Fawcett.
Oh my
God.
The
And
town
me.
of twirling.
That makes perfect sense.
And Victoria Beltran.
Oh my
Hello.
God.
Oh my god.
The legacy.
Were you a fan of hers growing up?
Selena?
Yeah.
Well, we went to the same, I went to every high school in town. You know how that goes as a trans kid.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
kicked out of every high school for wearing makeup or coming late all the time because I had to do my hair. You know?
Right.
It does look great.
Or like being,
Does look good.
skipping class because it was boys. And girls sometimes too.
Hey, cheers. Oh, I got a shot.
Girls and boys, they always wanted to take Victoria out of class.
She was popular.
They're like, come with me. Where am I going? We're
I don't
not
know.
We're not even in the school zone anymore.
You're like, we're gonna rob a bodega.
Hashtag fun
but it's
girl.
fine.
No, but
Definitely
she
fun
went to
girl.
the same high school that I did, the first high school, which was right by my house. We used to walk to the high school, past the cemetery. It was Roy Miller High School, and she went there.
Shush.
And my sister was older than me, so they were in the same grade level. And I remember my sister was a drummer, and she was a drum major. I believe that's
Shush,
how it
really?
went.
Oh my God.
Something like that. Eva Longoria is which one I'm talking about right now. That's the one who was a drum major. But then
I love that.
Selena didn't go to the high schools. I think she was homeschooled, but she would come visit because she would live in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But it's all Mexican,
Oh my God, I
Corpus
love
Christi,
it.
Tex Mex, South Texas kind of culture that happens there. So,
So you're
there's only-
officially Tex Mex, honey.
Yeah.
She's a Tex Mex.
We used to go
She's
to
the
Mexico.
nachos
We used
with
to
the
go to
sauce.
Mexico on weekend trips with like,
that's so
I meet a
cool.
boyfriend. I'm like, take me to Mexico.
Oh my God.
Oh
Where'd
my
you go? Where would you go?
We would
to
go,
Mexico?
we would go
I
to the
love
border
Mexico.
towns. We go to Laredo. And we would go to the gay clubs in Laredo to see Erica Andrews and all the girls perform because they'd always be performing in the gay clubs. And then
Yeah.
we'd go in the during the day to Mexico. And we'd buy hormones over the counter. And because you could get them bedlutados, that's what they were called.
Oh my God.
And you can get them over the counter, but they came in little boxes. And you had to take boxes out, and they were like these little glass vials that you had
Yes,
to
you
break.
pop it off.
You pop them. And I remember my friend Denise, her name is Chanel, rest in peace. I love her, my best friend. She had this big curly red hair, bouncy red hair. And we used to tie them in her hair because we take them out of the vials. They were shaped like little hourglasses.
Yeah.
And we would tie them in her hair. She had this big hair. And we would be walking across back to the American side of the border. And her hair would be cling, 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 cling.
They thought it was fashion.
They thought it was fashion. They thought it was fashion. Yeah, we used to bring them back.
That's genius.
And we never knew how much we were taking, but we would just take them.
Right, I remember that. Well, I got mine from the Bronx. It was like the one pharmacy in the Bronx.
They sold the Mexican hormones or the American hormones?
I guess it was like the injection, but it was in the bottle that you put the little
yeah, probably the estradiol. Those ones.
So those were like
the Mexican ones.
The
were
one
strong.
pharmacy where you didn't need a prescription, you would just go and they'd be like, okay, we know you're one of the girls.
Oh, that's nice.
When did you decide to come to New York?
Yeah.
When I had a friend in high school. He was adopted. He lived in my attic. It's a strange story. My mom one day, she's like, I think there's somebody that lives up in the attic because the attic staircase was in my bedroom.
I can't take this.
Listen to the story. The attic staircase was in my bedroom, so you can get to the attic through my bedroom. So I said, oh, you can live here, but just sleep up there. And so I bring him food and stuff. And my mom one day goes,
God, it's like
so
Parasite.
Sweet. Yeah.
He was so cute. His name was Robert. And then my mom said, one day she's like, I think there's somebody living with us, right? He doesn't have to sleep up there anymore. So she became, But then one day, we got, how we are. We got into it. And we were at a party. I remember he left. He's like, whatever. And we were arguing, whatever. And then he left. I didn't hear from him for like months. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's it? He just leaves just like that and leaves my house. And then one day he called me and he's like, hey, I'm living in New York. Wow. I live on 3rd Street and 3rd Avenue across from the Hells Angels.
Oh, shit.
I live
location.
I live in a duplex with a booker named Calvin who worked at Next Models and Johnny Zander, who was a supermodel, lived on the bottom floor. And Shalom Harlow used to come over and fuck Johnny and stuff. He's like, he called me like on Monday. And then like on Friday, I believe I was here in New York with a one-way ticket and one suitcase.
What?
Yeah.
You're like, it's your turn to let me live in your fucking attic.
Exactly.
Like, you send me a dish.
Yeah, he did.
And a slipper.
He did.
And when did you... So how did you get into modeling? Because you started modeling when you came to New York.
First I started working in the nightlife. I started working at... First, I worked at Stingy Lulu's on St. Mark's Street, which was a restaurant. And it was owned by Turkish guys. And all the drag queens and trannies used to go there, and they would give them jobs, which was really hard for us to do, no matter how passable you were. If they thought you were a trans person, or if they thought they had any clue, that they would not hire you, no matter where. They just didn't. Department stores, kind of. Some people say that they would hire you at Macy's, but I didn't want to work there. And Pat Fields just seemed saturated, and I was just like, what should I do? And my parents had given me some money to get here, so it was already, I was going through it, because I went shopping and stuff, and I was like, well, what should I guess I should get a job if I want to stay here. And I remember I went to Abracadabra.
Oh,
the costume shop.
That was my jam. They closed that a few years ago. Yeah,
they closed it.
Yeah, well, I think they changed location and a name, like we all do.
Oh, really? Send us goodie bags. I love that. We do. We changed. I went to Abracadabra one day because I was just wandering around the city on the day. Robert was at the hair salon, and my roommate was doing modeling jobs, and I was just walking around the daytime. I went to Abracadabra. I met Tina Sparkles, who was a drag queen who worked at Stingy Lulu's, and she got me the job there. Then from there, they owned Save the Robots.
Right.
And I started doing the door at Save the Robots with Natalie Cates, her name was Paris at the time, and a bunch of other people in the nightlife. And that's what I started doing. And then I got into, I wanted a job. I started dating. I met guys. I got in relationships. And one guy, we live in the Upper East Side, I became real fish. Real fish.
It's amazing when you take the train uptown what it can do for you.
And back when I was 18, I said, they said, don't go past 14th Street.
Yeah.
So I never would. And guys used to invite me out, and they'd be like, oh, the restaurant's on 50th. And I'd be like, no, I can't.
Really?
And they're like, why? They can't go past 14th Street.
Because it was dangerous or something?
Scared. Yeah, no, I thought it was where the normal people lived.
Oh, wow.
Like that's normal.
Yeah.
And we're downtown.
We're downtown crew.
And if I go past 14th Street, it starts to get shaky for me. I started to panic. Like,
oh my God,
too
that's
normal
so
for me.
crazy. Like, that's really like I think people like really infuse that in our psyche when we're like young trans women. They always like try to like
don't go in this area.
Yeah, they kind of restrict our growth.
So guys would ask me out, and they'd be like, "Oh, the restaurant's. Do you want to come meet me?" I would say no. Until one day I met a guy in the meatpacking district at what was the place called? It was called Jackie 60.
Oh my God, work.
I met a guy, Jackie 60, who was really nice, and all my friends were trans and drag queens and club kids and models and whatever. They were just like, oh, he's so nice and he gets us. He really likes you. So then I felt comfortable.
Felt safe.
Then he got an apartment on the Upper East Side. We moved in together. And I got a job at a modeling agency, booking models. And then from there, I started hiring me as a model. I did Maxim and FHM and Men's Health and all those magazines. And then I did some stuff in Playboy. And then I did...
Wow.
And then I met like all the girls, all the fish girls, all the cisgendered girls. Cisgendered.
Right. Okay, I want to ask you, because this episode also we want to talk about disclosure within the trans community. So like when do we... how do we navigate our way through our careers, through our love lives, through our entire lives with, what people make us feel sometimes is like a secret when it's like, it's like for me getting into like my career, I felt like I'm a musician, I'm making music. Here's my song. Let's talk about my album. But it was always like, because I didn't talk about that, people made me feel like I was keeping a secret.
Oh, I get it.
So
I know what you're saying.
So like for you,
in modeling too, when we used to go on auditions, they would tell me, don't let the client know.
Right.
And if the client found out, they didn't want to book us anymore. So like when I did all these stuff, and then I started doing acting jobs, and I got with the Dictator movie, they didn't know. And then I felt like while we shot in Spain. And while we were shooting out there, I felt like they started talking. And
so you felt that pressure.
I felt the pressure.
Did you ever feel like
I got nervous?
Did you feel
I got
nervous even going into that? Or you were just like, this is what I'm doing. I'm confident I'm doing this thing. Or did you ever feel the need to talk about that? Or did you also feel like this fear
I'm going to play this game?
I mean, it depends on the person. Everybody I felt was a different target. I felt like, okay, I'm going to look at this person. Right. They may not accept me, and they may not. Or this person, I know they will. This other person, I'm not sure. They're too conservative. So it's almost like you have to look at everybody and kind of navigate your way. Being trans and being real and looking so much like a cisgendered woman or just a woman who we are, because that's who we grew up as. We grew like you, I'm sure we were just, people say, what was it like to become a man to a woman? I'm like, I was a little boy who grew up into this woman.
Yeah.
So, but being real, I feel like is a double-edged sword, because we look so passable that nobody knows that we are trans. So we have to disclose that. And people who are not as passable, they may not feel they're as lucky, but they have the ability that people already know that they're trans. So they can just walk into a room and people know. And the guys that are going to come up to talk to them, or the people that are going to gravitate to them, know that they're trans. With us, I feel like it's different. It's difficult because they don't know we're trans. So we have to tell them that we're trans. And when is the right time to tell them?
Right.
I don't know.
Like with the, I say for instance, one of like a modeling job, like with Maxim. Like, did you go in there and you're like, okay,
this is my team.
Do I feel the need to tell someone, or did the thought cross your mind? Or
no, because I grew up in Texas and I had all these girlfriends who were really cool girls, and we were sexy, and we used to dress up, and so I felt confident enough to. I was just one of the girls.
Yeah,
right.
And my body's great and everything's great. So the package for me came together very easily. It just came together very well. I feel like for being a trans woman,
you felt really settled into your womanhood.
And I remember that day when we shot with them a few times, but I remember the first time I shot with them, I said, wow, I'm doing it.
You're a Maxim girl, honey. I mean, that was
I remember calling my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, I'm about to do it. And he was like, do it, call me later, bye.
Send me the
have fun. Yeah. And then it was. But dating, I felt like I didn't date. I always just let people gravitate to me. And when they gravitated to me, I said, okay, game on. If you come to me and you want to get to know me and you're like, hey, we should hang out. What's your number? Blah, blah, blah. Then what's your pager number? Remember back then? What's your beeper? What's your beeper?
Oh, my God.
I lived at Hotel 17 for a moment before I met the Upper East Side.
Oh, my God, yes.
And
Amanda lives there, right?
And then I live at the Gramercy Park Hotel. And I was moving up.
Fancy. She was moving up. She was not as scared of Uptown anymore. She was past 14th Street.
Gosh. I was moving past 14th Street to 18th Street.
Yes.
She went above 14th and went to 18th.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, but I remember they used to page
Not
me, and they used to.
quite.
We didn't have cell phones, but they would ring us at the hotel.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God, that's even fancier when they ring you.
They would ring you in the hallway,
Victoria,
and the phone was in the hallway. And
You
you
have
have
a
a call,
call?
and I'd be like, hello. And they'd be like, hi, I met you the other day at Stingy Lulu's. And I was like, this is before anybody had Facebook and Instagram. So you had to get to know somebody. You had to call them.
You had to call them. Can you imagine that?
I miss that.
I'm aging myself.
I miss how we, I mean, yeah, you're gagging me because I don't know how old you are.
I forgot.
But like,
we're not even going
I'm
to
like, I don't know how you know about beepers. But
I'm 30-something.
Ish.
But remember, guys would call and they would be like, "Hi, I met you the other day. Would you like to go out?" And I would, can you call me back in a few days? I have to think about this. And I would talk to my friends. Oh, this guy wants to take me out. And I was just, I don't know why, but I just didn't want to date.
Right.
And then do you think that was because of your transness, your identity? Was it because of that you were scared to like go through the whole process of disclosure?
I think it was the disclosure part because I wasn't about, okay, if the guy was calling me on our hotel phone or on my pager or getting a hold of me, he ran into me again and he was like, oh my God, I want to date you.
Morse code.
I think it was me thinking about the whole package. What are his friends going to think? How is he going to tell his friends? And I would get I would build like this wall, these bricks would just start building up. And I was just like, forget it. I'm not going to go on this date.
your own, like, talk yourself out of it.
Talk myself out of it.
Okay.
But so you never even gave yourself the opportunity to
No.
You feed yourself out of it. Yeah.
Fast forward to this day and age where we had cell phones and everybody was running around on the internet. I was dating like crazy, trust me. As soon as I got my surgery, as soon as I got my sex change surgery.
I love a sex change.
As soon as I got my sex change.
Here it's okay to say sex change.
Oh yeah, it's totally fine.
Or what is it called? Gender
reassignment surgery, gender confirmation.
That's really long. That's really long. I can't. I'm ready to take a nap.
Sex change, rearrange. Presto change or rearrange.
See, I like that better. I'm like politics.
So this also for me is when disclosure got a little more like the lines were really blurred at that point because when I had my sex change, I then I would just be out and meeting a guy in a club and we'd be drunk and we'd have a moment and we had a one-night stand and then the next day I'm like, oh, should I have said something? Or like, he'd then Google and it's like became a thing. I was like, what's the proper etiquette? Like I'm sure you went through your own level.
I went through a lot of it. When I first got my sex change, my mother remember during this, when I was at the hospital in Montreal, she was with me and she told me, the day after my surgery, she looked at me and she goes, now you don't have to tell anybody.
That's what my brother told me. Everyone's like, you're a woman now.
Right.
What does that mean?
Yeah. My mom said that. So that was like, okay. So I kept that with me for a very long time. And I would just go on dates and meet guys and I wouldn't say nothing. Why should I? I'm a woman and I'm gorgeous. They don't know.
Right.
And also like, why should, I'm sure they have moments they haven't told me. I don't care. It was just going to be fun. I'm not going to take them serious. And this was before I did any of the movie stuff. Any of the modeling stuff and movie stuff. So nothing was on the internet with me. Right. I was clean slate. Nothing. You could even Google me and you would maybe found my cell phone to Verizon Wireless.
AOL.
That's it.
AOL. Yahoo.
That's all you found. So then it was.
I still have my AOL account.
Mm-hmm. Oh, girl, I'm scared. I'm
still Venus. I'm still Venus 813.
You were
somewhere.
Venus 813. Oh my God, I was China doll. Yeah, and then I was eyes and lips.
Eyes and lips. I get what this is.
Eyes and lips NYC.
And with a number.
What was your AOL? Do you have AOL?
I'm probably Victoria's Secret. Probably like Victoria's Secret.
Oh my God, it's genius.
But it was probably like Victoria's Secret 2003. Something like that.
I love that.
You had to have a number because there was so many.
Everything was taken.
Everything was taken. Guys and dating. Then you got your sex change and it was easy because you don't have to say nothing.
It was easy, but it felt a little more tricky for me. I remember this one specific instance. I went to hear Ellie Escobar DJ, and I felt I was amongst friends and people that knew me and knew my tea. And so I met some guy there, and we had a whole night of just like boning all night. And then the next day I was like, oh, that was fabulous. I thought he knew.
You felt fresh and glowing.
I didn't even think about, because we don't go around thinking, all day, or like, I'm trans. Like, it's now, I'm just living my life.
I'm just going to get it.
And then I remember we were texting for a while and we were flirting, and then suddenly I was blocked from all accounts. And I was like,
she was eliminated.
I was like, what happened? What's the shit? Did I say something wrong?
And it hurt. It kind of made you kind of feel sad.
And then I didn't realize what happened at first, but then my mutual friend was like, you fucked that guy. And I was like, how do you know? He's like, we're on a group chat, and he was trying to talk about how he had hooked up with you, and we were like, do you know that she's trans? And he didn't know. And then he got really like,
he got freaked out.
He got freaked out. He blocked me.
But that's because his friends probably.
Right. But a month later, girl, the walls came down and the unblocking happened, and he's trying to come back for the pussy. And I'm like,
of course, they all come back.
No, you can't like,
they all come back.
React that way. Do that to me. And then like.
The first like 10 times I was like, I was like sad about it, and I would cry. No, I'm serious. I would cry, but after like after Mr. 500, and I was like, I always dated like investment bankers, doctors,
names,
just good guys, like really good guys, and they would always. I'd meet their family, I would meet their mom, I'd go for the anniversary parties and retirement
weddings,
weddings and quinceañera. No, quinceañera. We're in New York, so it's bar mitzvahs. I go to the bar mitzvahs, and I look gorgeous. I look like they thought, wow, who is this? Who is this gorgeous little creature?
That's a model,
beauty. And I would finally feel like I had to say something
after the bar mitzvah.
So right, then there's like the friends and the family. I remember my first boyfriend. He lived in a brownstone, and his mom was on the bottom floor, and they shared this brownstone. Right. And his mom loved me, but didn't know the tea.
Yeah.
And I've always felt a little like afraid, or like I always felt like there was always a sense of danger. Like, oh my God, like I have to like look a certain way. I have to like
make sure I'm like cozy, put on.
Right?
Yeah, it felt like I was living like the life that everyone always said a girl should live, but I was also like,
there's the life that you're supposed to live.
Right.
Why then not? There's like why everybody else and not us?
Exactly. Right. But like, why do I have to also feel afraid of like when
society puts that pressure on them to not? There's so much. All those talk shows that were happening around us growing up, we were building our lives as trans women. While these Jerry Springers and Maury Povich and all these
Sally Jesse Raphael, you in the wrong way,
and they were doing it all in this wrong way, making it seem like we were freaks.
Yeah,
and they didn't get to show the beauty side of it, which was the gorgeous girls that were like just living their everyday lives.
Yeah, working, living, paying the rent. Yeah,
and we can be the girl next door. We can be that girl. We can be the girl that comes to your into your mailbox with Maxim magazine, or the girl you're listening to on the radio who's singing White Horse and beautiful songs and those things, and we can be the girl that you can take to the wedding and to the bar mitzvahs and things like that, and to the office parties.
I love an open bar.
All the beautiful hangouts and beautiful moments in the Hamptons and the Jersey Shore.
Yeah,
we want to do those things.
Oh my God. And but the thing is to get to the place that you know that you deserve to have those experiences too. Like, do not feel intimidated or you're not worthy of those moments.
Right. Well, there's that, and then there's also feeling like you're maybe in danger.
Right. Right. That's a whole other shit too.
Yeah. That's a whole. I always I think of the girls that because we all know about.
Well, I have a lot of friends who have been murdered. Of course.
Yeah.
That happens. It happens. It's still happening. It's
as we speak. It's terrible.
It's terrible, and I just feel like I don't know. To this day, like we just had Trans Day of Remembrance, and I kept thinking. I told one of my girlfriends, Carmela, I said, for me to be talking to you about my life right now, it's like I don't even know how I made it because far. Because most of my girlfriends have passed, and all the dates that I went on with guys, and I was trying to and disclosing that I was trans, and it was like hit or miss, and it was always a miss. No matter, I thought this has to be the one. Yeah. This has to be the one. He's in love with me. He's already telling me he loves me. He loves me, and I'm going to tell him now. And every time I would tell him, it would just be like, it went from the royal wedding was about to happen to
like devastation, to
just like, I'm glad you told me. I respect that you told me. And they always did it that way because they were really nice guys. They weren't like douchebags. I respect that you told me. I'm glad that you told me. But
you didn't. You were in danger of.
No, well, but then it was over. It was like the roller coaster ride would just go eat. Yeah. And it would say, get off.
I remember I was dating, remember Adam?
Take your chihuahua with you.
I was dating this like nerdy
basic
engineer.
Nerdy motherfucker.
He was cute though.
Who? He was cute, but he was basic.
She said that to him actually.
And his face.
She was like, he's so cute.
What was his name? Call him out.
I only remember his first name was Adam.
Adam. What's his Instagram?
I don't even know.
We don't even know. We didn't even know if he's on Instagram.
But he was hot.
He was hot.
And he was living for you.
He was living
and
hard.
It was perfect.
And it was great. And we were getting closer.
And I because I had a conversation with him and I just knew that he was just exterior, not interior. You know? Because he was kind of basic.
He was basic.
He was so basic.
And he had no
depth.
But that was the time in my life when I would just like validate myself through other men's eyes. You know, I was like, if I was like, even though I was beautiful and like successful and all those things, maybe I didn't really feel that. And just having a man who didn't know my tea and saw me as a normal girl, I felt like, oh my God, like I was addicted to that feeling.
But we're not the only ones. There's cisgendered, regular female girls or whatever. They feel the same way.
Yeah, they do this. Yeah. But I remember telling him my tea, and we were like on a roof having a gorgeous moment on a roof, and I was like, okay, I gotta tell him now. This is it. Like the feelings are growing.
Yeah, I love to tell everybody by tea on a roof.
Retrograde.
And I told him
last thing, thank God,
girl,
it's been a rough retrograde,
and he freaked out. He was like crying and like walking around with his hands on his head. And we're on a roof. And I'm like, this motherfucker could possibly throw me off the roof.
Why would you do it at that time?
I don't know. I was like, it was really romantic.
That's what I said.
It was like it turned romantic to like a horror movie. I was like, oh my God.
Okay, but can I ask you a question? How did you used to say it? Because I don't have to do this anymore because now I date a trans man and we were great together.
Oh my God, we got to get into that.
But when I had to disclose it, how would you disclose it? Because I remember I used to do it my own way. I did it so many different ways. I said, that way's not working. I used to cry at first and be like, I have something to tell you. And I'd be real sad.
Oh my God.
But then that would make them sad.
You're an actress as well.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
That's when the actress thing comes in.
I would cry like La Llorona. Yeah. And then
bring all that much.
But then it just makes them sad. If you cry and you get scared, then it makes them scared. If you do it at a party, like, so what? And cheers. Then they're kind of like, what? Yeah. When we were on Molly together and they're just like...
Actually, I like that. I like B.
Right. Let's just do that.
There's never... What I would recommend to girls is like via text. Because I don't know. Guys are crazy. Oh. I mean, I think
so these are your tips.
These are my tips.
Number one.
I think guys are evolving, and I think it's a little safer, the climate in general, but I would always want the girls to be safe. So for me, I would recommend if you're on an online app or something, just have it, just disclose it right away in your description.
Right.
So like if you're swiping, they know. And make it,
that's good.
And make it sound like you're proud of it. You know what I mean? Not like, I just
ride the parade float.
No, yeah.
Don't be like, oh my God, just in case you didn't. Like, but just like, this is it. This is who I am. Blah, blah, let's move past. I love to read this kind of book. I love sci-fi. I love this, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, move on. Make it seem like
seamless.
A little bit.
Like, I'm confident. I'm telling you this. Keep it moving. If you don't like me, like...
I have black hair, brown eyes. I'm a post-out trans. Da da da. Like I like sci-fi. Da da da. Like keep it going,
moving. Right. I always did it over dinner. I always did it over dinner.
Well, now
before we get the
appetizers,
I would always just tell them over dinner. Before the appetizers, come have something to tell you.
Kids, public.
Yeah. And I would beat around the bush about it. Right. Like first, I would give little clues, so that way they can kind of get it.
So this is 3 out of the 1, 2, 3.
They would
Molly, and then
first
dinner.
The first one's cry and be sad, and then I'm so sorry for you.
Right.
The second tip to tell guys you're a transsexual is do
drugs.
Do some drugs. Just go out and party. Go to a fucking rave and do some Molly while you're on the dance floor.
I'm torn between 2 and 3.
And number 3 is go to dinner and drop little hints.
Before
and then
the
like a month
appetizers.
later, drop another little hint. And a month later, and bring him around all your gay friends.
Oh, and then he's like, God.
All your gay friends. Take them from the straight world to
like,
the
she's
super
really trendy.
queenie world.
He's like, why
so
are we in Harlem
cool.
at a ball? Yeah.
Because one of those queens are liable to fuck up.
Down. You got that one friend.
That
They
one
love
friend
one
hate.
that's
bitch.
like, hey, you fucking...
That's dying to tell your tea.
Of course.
Those queens are always dying
There's
to
that
spill
one
our
queen
tea.
that you walk in the party and she's like, hey, you tranny bitch.
And you're like,
And then you're like, oh, God.
Back of your hair, you're like, thanks, bitch.
so what do you think of like
say,
your?
thanks, girl. You always tell the guy, he tells everybody that.
Yeah.
So then, okay, wait.
That's
So
not
I wanna go-
Little
I wanna-
hints,
okay.
and then hopefully he picks it up along the way.
You want him to figure it out.
Yeah,
on his
usually they
own.
do figure it
You
out.
want him to be smart.
When I was married,
like,
And this is
my-
so. Do you? Okay, question. Do you have sex with them and then let them figure it out, or do you do this before you have sex with them?
Oh, I have sex with them, right? Of course, why not? You want them to enjoy you as a woman, and I am
I've
a
always-
woman.
I've always liked
I always
you.
feel like, okay, there's nothing wrong with not telling a guy that you're transsexual if you
Right.
feel like it's never going to go anywhere. What are you going to do? Tell
Right,
a guy
okay.
on just
So
on
I'm
one
curi-
night stand
I'm
that
curious-
you're trans?
I'm curious to get your opinion about this. In the UK, there are some sexual offenses laws, and one of them says a sexual offense is committed if a person intentionally penetrates the anus or vagina of a non-consensual partner. And a person consents for the purpose of this act if he agrees by choice and has the freedom and capacity to make that choice. And the non-disclosure that someone is transgender could be viewed as deceptive and would challenge the freedom and capacity aspect of that law, which would then make like kissing and hugging a sexual assault, and then penetrative sex would be considered rape.
Okay, I'm never gonna go there, but also, if
We're not going to UK.
we're not going to the
No, we're
UK,
getting-
sorry.
I never liked
You guys-
I never liked the royals.
You guys
British
come
boys
to
are
us.
fucks.
Come to us. World Pride, come to us. Listen, the World Pride NYC, come to us. We're waiting for you. No, listen. Do they mean transgender person as the person who's not have surgery yet, or somebody like us who's transsexual, whatever, women?
They mean anyone who hasn't disclosed that they're trans.
Well, you know what? Laws are meant to be broken. And also, I feel that, laws and things like that, it's like people have their opinion on things, but you don't have to feel that it's right.
Right. So you don't feel like...
There's a lot of things that Trump does, and we're like, that's just not right.
Right.
It's a law, but it's not right.
not
So
cute.
it may be their
hate him
law,
so much.
but just because it is, there's people who can fight it. I'm sure there's people in the UK right now who have lawsuits, and they're going through some trials.
That's a gag.
Can you imagine, girl?
I want to see that trial on fucking CNN.
I would love to see an open trial.
That's the trial I want to see.
Yeah, I don't want to see
They're
it.
like,
I mean, I definitely want to see the impeachment. Like, I want to see it
But
happen.
I don't think a guy is really going to go to trial and put himself through that exposure of
I don't know if-
having sex with a trans
still a
person
stigma,
if he
yeah.
feels that it
the
wasn't
stigma,
right.
yes, but the ratings.
The trial.
I would love to see it.
I would like to see that
I would like
too.
to see it.
I would
I
love
would like to see the look on his face
Yes.
in the courtroom with the
Oh
bright
my God.
lights.
Okay, wait. So
and then her going in the stand, she's like, he just texted me, guys.
My ex, right?
he's like, let's
He
forget
literally-
about this whole thing.
Yeah,
Can we fuck
he literally
again?
just texted me. He wants to eat my pussy.
Yeah, he did want to
Yeah.
see my pussy. That's the thing. After
Exactly.
they have this moment of
Exactly.
freaking out. Then like a month later, they're back on the fucking hitting me up on the gram. Like,
Yeah.
okay, can we fuck again? I'm like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you even want to like maybe apologize?
Yeah, for making me feel like shit.
Right. No,
before
they
I
don't. They
sit
don't
on
feel
it.
like
No,
you're
they think
they're entitled because what you did. They feel was that you did something wrong. You deceived them, and that they're going to give you the chance to get some dick.
Oh,
That's what it is. That's
it's
it.
a favor?
It's a favor.
Oh, that's
in their
Wow.
eyes. When I was married and my ex-husband, I didn't tell him for a year, but he knew.
after you were married?
No, we got married on our 8th year of us being together. We were together for
my
10
God.
years. Brett Bergman, he works at Rikers Island.
Work.
He's a psychiatrist, and
Oh my God! You know what?
Psychiatrist.
Okay, wait. So
I'm calling him out because we got
dated-
divorced.
I dated a guy that was friends
I
with
love
him.
divorce.
Oh, you did?
They were friends.
None of his friends knew my tea except one of them in LA. I feel like he knew because we used to go to LA a lot, and we went to the Playboy Mansion after I was in Maxim and all this stuff. And I took him for the ride of his life, honey.
I'm sure.
because of
Yeah.
me. He went to the Playboy Mansion.
He
I
had
was in the
he had a life
dictator.
after when we were together,
met,
I'm sure.
he was living with his sister somewhere in Manhattan, and he was going to school to get his finance degree or psychology degree. I forgot which one. But then I started doing work, and I started taking him to all the fashion week parties, and I became the fire in him to explore New York. The nightlife girl came into his life.
You gave him a life.
And I gave him this amazing. We balanced each other out, but. He didn't know I didn't tell him after, like, we didn't finally have the conversation about me being trans after about a year of us dating.
And how did he react?
He said he already figured it out because of all the little clues I was putting around.
You're like, what is it?
When he proposed.
Counseling Gretel?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. We got married.
Yeah, you got married.
It was raining. We got married. I remember that day. But I would drop little clues on purpose because I would be like, and then one day, every time at dinner or before we'd all be all dolled up. We were having like a date night, and I knew it was a good time to talk, like in the car or at home when I was fixing his tie and I was pushing up my titties from my push, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we were getting ready, and I'd be like, I would look at him, and you mean, how long can you hide something like that?
Right.
You just feel it in your gut.
You feel that's
and
the
I'm
thing.
like,
That's
he
the
really
feeling.
loves
Like,
me, and I really love him. We have a
Right.
life together. I have dogs together. I mean, and I would look at him, and I'd be like, I have something to tell you, but I'm going to tell you later. I'm not sure if I'm going to tell you. And he would be like, okay, do you want to tell me now? And I'm like, no, but I may tell you later. And he's like, okay. And then later on in the night, he'd be like, hey, remember that? What you wanted to tell me, but you haven't told me. Do you want to tell me now? And I'm like,
You're like,
he'd like, you don't have to say it now. He's like, you don't have to say it now. I'm like, okay, fine. And so that's how it would go for about a year.
Wow.
But
Like,
he'd also drop hints for you.
He would drop
like,
hints for me.
know.
Well, he would just be like, hey, watch this on television. And it would be something about, something about he wouldn't get it. Like he would see some like cross dressers or something, and he'd be like, hey, take a look at this. And I'd be like, why? And I'd be like, weird or something. I would just like RuPaul Drag Race or something.
Like, oh my God, he just doesn't get it.
He doesn't
Like,
want to put, he was just trying to hint to me.
Right.
One day he came home, I was like, and then I thought to myself, what if he doesn't fucking know? And I've been
That's
dropping these
the
hints.
scary
And what if he
part.
doesn't really know? And I told my friends, and I asked my sisters and my mom, because my mom had already met his family. She was in on the gig too. My
And
mom
she's like,
would
you're
go,
a woman. You don't have to say anything.
anything.
Yeah, she's still on
we
that
don't
trip.
say
She's like,
nothing.
She's still in Montreal. Like, fuck this shit.
Fuck this
talk
shit.
about.
My
There's
parents
nothing to
helped me
talk
pay
about.
for my surgery. She's like, you're not gonna fuck this up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We paid for it. Top dollar.
My mom was on the
dollar.
gig. My mom met his mom.
I
She
love
didn't
that.
say
That's
she didn't
okay.
she was didn't say nothing about nothing. And
So, okay.
one day he came home with a one day he came home with a bag of syringes.
Ooh.
Gag.
What was that about?
I
dropping
usually
the
like
hints.
roses.
That's a
but-
big hint.
Okay.
You're like, okay, there's something
No, I
you're
used to
not
get
telling.
flowers all the time. Lingerie, flowers. But one day he came home with a bag of syringes and he dropped them I was in the bedroom like
Wait, where were these syringes from?
they were from the pharmacy or whatever, from wherever he got them from, because he worked at Rikers Island. I guess they used to just wherever, I don't know where
he was
he
like
got
getting it for you to have for your
my hormone injection.
Oh, so that was it. That was
And
it.
I remember I was on the bed, and
gonna
I remember
cry.
I was laying there, and I was just I was on the computer like looking up like my next booking for like whatever I was doing, and I was like, hey honey, tomorrow I have to get fitted for my job, blah, blah, blah. And he walked in the room, he goes, hey, how's your day? And he threw me a bag on the bed, and I just hit me, and I was like, what's that? And I opened it, and it was like all these syringes, and I went, and he just looked at me, and I was like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
What is this? And I looked at myself, and I played stupid. I was like, what is this for?
She was so
She was still on the fucking script.
I was feeling fish. But let me tell you something.
I'm sad.
And then he goes, you know what it's for? And I was like, well, what's it for? He's like, for the stuff that you take.
Oh.
And then I said, oh, okay. I guess he wants me to take more. And then I thought to myself, and guess what? After that, we had a conversation after that. And I booked The Dictator. And then I talked to him and I said, hey, I'm going to go to Spain and do this job. What happens if it comes out? And he goes, what do you mean if it comes out? Because that you're trans or transsexual? He told me, and I was just like, yeah, what if it comes out? And he goes, then I'll cheer you from the sidelines, but, we'll go from there. It was that moment happened.
Right.
And then we from the time we met to the time we got divorced, we never talked about it.
Yeah,
and I
it's
can
not-
honestly say, being a transsexual, people can say, you shouldn't say anything and something, but there's just something about when you can live your life as a total 100% woman and forget that you did that. It's almost like there used to go weeks and I used to forget. Except just taking my hormones. I was like, oh, I should take my hormones. That's when I would remember. And I'd be like, oh, my God.
Yeah, that's how
I would forget. His friends didn't know. His family didn't know. And I was immersed in the stealth life that just, it was perfect. I was booking jobs. Nobody knew. And that was fun. And then that's it. And then I got outed. And then you get outed and stuff like that. When I got outed, it was intense. And I took my life from there to being an outed, an out and about trans.
So when that happened, when you were outed, like how did that come about? Did you?
I got divorced, and the divorce was in the paper, and it was. Okay. I didn't even know that it was going to happen. I was just at home, and I remember we were already talking about breaking up because the thing happened where I found out that he had cheated with somebody from his work, but it wasn't that big of a deal because I was like, so what? So you got one, and then we were going to go through marriage counseling and stuff, and then she went to the papers, the girl that he was dating, and the girl that he was fucking, and that she went to the papers and she told them all about me being trans and this and that. Right. And
how did she find out everything? He told her?
I guess he told her. No, I'm sorry. Rewind. It's been so long. I found out they were seeing each other, and then I called her up. I bitched her out like a fucking Latina. Yes. And I said, listen to me, woman. Darling. Listen to me, honey. We've lived together. We're married. We've been together for 10 years. I'm a transsexual. Ooh. And he loves it. Ooh. He loves it. He married me. He loves it.
My favorite way to say anyone that says transsexual when they say transsexual.
Transsexual. Ooh, I love that word, transgender. Yeah. Transsexual.
Let's bring it back.
And bring it back.
We have to
bring
transsexual. Sexual. You have to really, Ooh. All right, go on. This is good.
And then what happened was she wanted to break us up completely. So she went to the papers, and I was. He went to work one day. We were going to go to marriage counseling. Because I'm that fish, marriage counseling.
Yeah, you know what? I mean,
you had a real cis life, girl.
Yeah,
that is super cis. Married, cheating, counseling, divorce. That is the realest thing I've ever heard.
And I was in a movie at the time, and I remember
and glamour at the same time.
And glamour, and trying to pull glamour together. Yeah. And I said, if Eva Longoria can do it, if they can do it from Corpus Christi, if Eva Longoria can do it too.
Give me Tex Mex realness.
And I was walking all three of my dogs one day when he went to work, and somebody came to me with the New York Post, and they said, you Victoria Beltran? And I was like walking my dogs and through my little neighborhood. It's like, and I was like, what? Who are you? And a guy came with a camera. No. And I was like, excuse me, what's going on? And the woman who was a reporter and the guy taking the picture, they said, we're with the New York Post. You're in a movie called The Dictator. You're getting a divorce, right? And I said, yes. No. What's your business? We're going to try to fix it.
Yeah.
And she said, you're a transsexual, right? And my heart just went. She goes, we're going to write a story about you tomorrow. So would you like to give a quote?
A quote.
That's like an assault. Like not like we would like to write an article about you. We're going to write an article.
That's a drive-by shooting if I ever heard one.
Thank you. Yeah. She said the story is going to run tomorrow.
With you, without you.
How are you going to play this? Yeah. How are you going to play it? She said, would you like to give, this is what she says. Oh, this is what he said. And I said, he said.
Oh my God, this is so Billions. So he
was like, what do you mean he said? Well, apparently they already talked to her and she said XYZ. And then I don't care about what she said. But he said, I never knew. That was the one thing.
A bullet to the
heart.
He
said she deceived me. God.
Meanwhile, he gave you a bouquet of syringes.
Bouquet of fucking syringes. Fucking licking my tranny pussy. Yep. No periods. No babies. His sister had a baby. His brother had a baby. But then they would be like, when are you going to have a kid? And I'd be like,
I don't know if I'm into that.
Anyway, exactly.
Yeah, we haven't planned that yet.
Heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking.
I think his family knew, but they never really said that they knew because after a while they've kind of figured it out that she's not having a baby. She's what's going on with her. Anyways.
Wow. So a whole life change.
All that happened. Moment. It was like the time stood still. It was like Manhattan was going. It's like when a friend dies. Ever had a close friend or
Yes.
family member pass away?
Yes.
And that feeling of like the world's going around you.
Yeah.
That's what happened that day. And it took me about a month
Were
to
you
leave.
still living together?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Oh,
so how did you
word?
get home from the dog walk?
Well, first of all, you know what, girl, get into this. I was not wearing my Sunday best that day. I remember I was wearing Juicy Couture sweats and like a mad little,
You're like,
horrible
fuck,
outfit.
I gotta change outfits.
And they said, they were taking my picture and I said, where's this? You guys are taking. First of all, I started crying in the middle of the street, and
Jesus
I said, "Can
Christ,
you?" And
girl.
I begged them not to do it, and they said, "So sorry, but we're not the ones who."
This is our
They're
job.
gonna do
no
it.
one gives a fuck about you.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, okay, if you're taking pictures of me. They're like, yeah. I said, do you mind if I at least go upstairs? I live right here. Girl, I ran into my apartment. I dropped my dogs off. I looked in my closet and I said, what am I about to put on for this photo of me being outed? And I was crying at the same time. I was looking through my clothes, but I said, this is really happening right now. I wasn't expecting this.
The fear.
And I grabbed an Hervé Leger and an Alexander McQueen sports coat, a little blazer, and I threw it on and I tossed my hair and I put some lip gloss and I ran downstairs and I said, take your fucking picture. And they snapped a picture and I said, no, please leave me alone. And I went inside and I immediately called him. And I was still wearing my look.
Thank God they gave you that choice to change outfits.
Right, but I don't know how.
Normally they want tragedy. They want tragedy.
They ran the picture with me in the outfit, but I remember calling him and I said, so I guess the press was here and you guys have talked to them and you've said you just gave them a quote or whatever or something. He's like, I never gave them a quote, and I was like, well, listen, they were just here. He didn't believe me that they were here. I had to tell him that they were here. I had to explain. He came home. We had a talk. I said, get your shit.
Yeah.
And just leave.
Get the fuck out.
And go to your dad's. Get the fuck out of here. Go to your father's house. And just leave me alone. And then I remember he called me later and he tried to talk to me. And then he said that once the paper hit the next day, when he called me and after a few days, he said that he didn't know what to do. And that it was he's going to stay at his dad's for a while. And I was just like, okay, if he feels that he doesn't want to come back to this relationship because of this, now I'm outed.
Right.
Before, if his family didn't figure it out, it would have been fine. But now everybody knew.
That's the difference. And that's what I always wonder also with my partners, where I'm like, you accept me, you love me, you love my family, our families accept each other, but do you accept that the world knows about you as well?
No, it's hard for them.
Yeah,
it's hard because
it's
of
harder for them.
It's layered on them. Society
because you're always ready. You're born ready to deal with the battle.
Yeah.
But you're ready to always go up for battle. These guys don't know how to prepare for battle.
No, and they live with an extra stigma.
Yeah, of course.
But I always feel like maybe if I would have been open in the beginning. But then I think about it, I'm like, no, we lived our life the way we lived it. And it took me about a month to leave my apartment after that happened. Really? I had to have a friend come over and help me walk my dogs, feed my dogs. I was getting called for jobs, to get jobs, to do jobs. And then I got called by GLAAD to come in and talk to them about what happened in the media. And GLAAD said that they would counteract their story and that I can go on some talk shows and talk about what happened, and they would help me
support you in your.
But
story,
then I thought I talked to my mom, and she's like, "You're just adding fuel to the fire, and you're just gonna make it. You're just." And then some people told me that if you just leave it alone, it'll go away. And so I just left it alone, and I hoped that it went away. And then I met people like Laverne and people like that, and then I started immersing myself into the nightlife and gay culture again because they supported me. I met people like you, and I saw other trans girls. I met Jamie Clayton.
Yeah,
oh, she's so lovely.
And Jamie came to me and she's like, I'm an out transsexual and I'm an actor. And she brought me to an acting class and we started taking classes together.
Great. Oh my God, I love that.
Love Jamie.
That's great.
And then I met Trace Lissette and I met girls like that and I started seeing all these girls
gorgeous.
who were, and Trace I feel like she was still in the closet as well for a moment, and I think she was coming out of the closet and going through her process, as well as me going through my process. And it was easy to see these girls that were out and then successful, and I would listen to your music, and I would hear, and I'd be like, she's out, and she's proud, and she's doing it, and people like her, and all my gays, I started surrounding myself by gays. And I just kind of forgot about the life of not telling anybody. And I started thinking to myself, now who cares? Because if you treat it as in like, who cares? Like it's, if they care so much and it bothers them, then don't fuck with them.
Right.
Who gives a fuck? Because one day their guy's going to come around and then he's going to be the guy who totally accepts you 100% for who you are. And then you don't have to, if there's a disclosing point where you have to tell him you're trans, I mean, then you just deal with it. And if he doesn't accept you, then he doesn't. But I feel like being out is better because then you can just be yourself and they figure it out from the beginning. Mm-hmm. You're beautiful, you're real, but you're just so proud to be yourself that they look at you like she's fun and she's like got that confidence. Men love confidence.
That's what I always say. Like confidence is always
absolutely
so.
Confidence is the key.
Confidence is the sexiest thing because I've seen women, no matter what what their walk of life is, the most confident ones or in the best relationships, and I just see them with their partners and the look in their eyes, and I'm like, oh my god, it's not about. I talked about this with Giselle, where there's this pressure to be like realness and beauty and all these things, and like you have all
have it all naturally.
It doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, it's like you can have all that and not feel the confidence, and then it reflects in your relationships, and like so. I've learned over time that like being confident in who you are and in your trans experience, also letting that be a part of who you are, and like not just like for me, it's also I identify as a woman, and like my trans experience is an experience I've been through, but I've learned to also like let it be a part of who I am today, and like make sure that anyone that I'm romantic with is on that same level in their own life, you know, because men have to also be proud of themselves and the way they look and the way they feel and what their experiences have been, whatever that experience is. We will never know what a cis hetero male's experience is either, because that's a deep dark hole.
But you were married too.
I was married,
and he knew.
He knew. Yeah, we met in one of my shows. He was doing the sound, and we met in Greece.
So he knew.
He knew, yeah.
Right. But it's beautiful to be accepted and to that we have that experience of being married.
Yeah, but I also had to deal with his this was interesting because we were together, we were married, we were living together, and his parents didn't know, but they loved me, you know, and they're like traditional Greek family. So like every week we're having dinner every week with his family, and we're like, you know, I'm with the mother, I'm speaking Greek, I'm like, you know, I'm in the family.
Yeah.
And I did this performance that was televised with the biggest pop star in Greece, and at the end he like kissed me, but in a sweet way. It wasn't like a lip kiss,
not in a sexual way.
Whatever it looked like, because it was just all hair, darling.
You looked
so it was like
a body.
So everyone was selling it.
That's the one with the red dress, right?
Everyone was selling it like we kissed. And so the next day I woke up, and I remember my friend. I was living with my producer friend Elliot. Shout out to Elliot, the Elliot Sessions. I remember he said, "Don't leave the house." And I was like, what? He's like,
I love when people tell me that, by the way.
I was like, you don't have to ask me twice.
Ask me twice.
We love that. Where's the remote?
Do you have Seamless?
Yeah. I have Seamless, Netflix.
What was the Greek Seamless?
Hulu.
I forgot what it was. Yeah. Perdidos is the chili one. But
I live for her.
So, she's everything.
I want one like her. Can I clone you?
You
can borrow her.
Clone you.
She's leaving for a month. You want to hang out with me?
You too. I'll be back. We'll be back at the same time.
So I remember
he said, don't leave the house.
He said, don't leave the house. And I was like, why not? He's like, everyone's talking about you. It's all over the morning news, you know, the Good Morning shows.
Yeah.
And every newspaper was like, you know, this cis hetero pop star kissed a trans girl on TV, and like they're like, this is a scandal, you know. In Greece, you forget that it feels so
you had a tabloid moment as well.
Yeah, and it was all over the papers, and it was everything. And so finally, my husband gets the phone call, like we're waiting, and they're like, we need a family meeting. And they're like, you know, you didn't tell us. What are you doing? You're trying to like ruin our lives and blah blah. And he's like,
ruin your life.
He's like,
your Tula.
They're like, how are you gonna have grandchildren? And he was like, first of all, stop. Like, when did I ever say I wanted children? Like, when in this?
So did he defend you?
He defended me, and that was the one thing that I loved about him. Out of all the horrible things, he spoke up for himself too, and he was just like, you know, you need to educate yourself on what what her experience is. She's a woman. I'm with a woman. I don't care what you think about me. And also, when did I ever say I wanted to have children?
Right.
Like, you never gave me that choice.
So did you see the family after that?
It took a while, but his sister was getting married. So it was so funny. You were talking about the wedding.
Right.
So they invited me to the wedding. Mm-hmm. And so the first time I saw them.
They did after that.
After all that, they were trying to make amends. Because then we stopped.
That's nice.
Because then he stopped going to the family dinners. And they're like,
That's a big deal.
They're like, we missed you at the family dinners. And he's like, well, I'm not going if my woman's not accepted to the dinners.
Right.
And then they were like, oh, okay, we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
So you went to the wedding?
I went to the wedding, girl. I looked
Sickening.
You have to look sickening.
Is
that that blue dress? Is that the blue dress?
It was the blue dress.
Ooh,
it was
lovely.
almost like I was the bride because there was a line at the table to say hi to me. Because at the time I was like a Greek celebrity.
Of course.
It was fabulous.
Yeah, of course. On the beaches they play her
Oh,
music.
yes.
So wait, how did you, so are you single?
No, I'm dating somebody who's trans.
Oh my God, wait.
Yes,
Okay,
transsexual.
give us the tea.
His name is Lucas, and he's trans. Lucas Krigler. He's fierce.
Wait, so
and I feel like the universe brought us together for.
How'd you meet?
reason.
I want to know that. How'd you meet? The whole. I want the whole.
was it an
tea.
app? Was it in a club?
I met him at a party that he threw at his house.
I love
and,
that. Even more.
Another friend
I
that I
love a
met
house
in
party.
You're a
LA.
very house
his-
party girl.
Another friend of his that I met in LA and said, "Hey, we're having a party for him." Blah blah blah. And he invited me, so I went, and it was in Brooklyn, and it was my first time coming to like a house party in Brooklyn from Manhattan, and I was like, "I'm a Manhattan girl." And
I
was
love how the Brooklyn virgins. They're like,
should I
everything's in
go?
Brooklyn now.
And it was like it was on Bushwick Avenue, so I was kind of like, "Wow, I'm kind of scared." Walking
It's like,
into
is
this
this
house,
the new Uptown?
but then we met, and then it was. Yeah, is this where am I? Am I safe? Am I safe here? But it was nice, and I had fun, and we started
like,
on New Year's. He's like, "Will you be my?" He gave me a note at dinner. We went to this beautiful, fabulous dinner on the Upper East Side, and he gave me a note, and I opened it. It says, "Will you be my leading lady?"
what?
Like,
Oh my
special.
And she's like, speak to my agent.
Let me call the press.
I'm usually good on Wednesdays.
He's like, let's do this. He's like, let's do this. And I really fell for him because I mean, it's
Wow, that's some baller moves.
it's so cute,
Right?
I mean, that's called romance.
And also, I feel like because he's trans and because I'm trans.
Did you know
I
he was
feel
trans
like,
at first?
Yeah, I knew he was trans, and I
Did he know you were trans?
He knew.
Oh, I love that. So
But
there was
I
no
love-
disclosure.
the tea was already all
we
out
like
there.
going places and people don't know. We're like, we look at these people don't know we're trans. When we meet people sometimes like other couples, and I feel like, oh my god, how do we tell them? Disclosure.
Disclosure full on.
Friendsgiving.
Oh my God, Victoria, girl, you literally have been through the full range of disclosure.
Janice Danielle, she's a good friend of mine. She's an actress. She said, as long as, because we were having, we had a late night last night. We had pizza and we were having shopping moment.
Oh, I love that.
And she said, I thought I'm supposed to do this podcast with my good friend Naomi. And what do I talk about? About disclosure. She gave me a tip. She said, as long as the girls aren't deceiving the guys in any way. And I said, what do you mean by that? She's like, not deceiving them that you're trans, but when the guy says like, do you want to have a baby? Or when they get to, if they're in their 20s and 30s and they haven't had kids, and they're asking the girls, do you want to have a baby? I mean, what kind of do you want a boy or a girl? And as long as you don't say like, well, we can have a boy. Or as long as you say, I used to tell things like, I used to say, yeah, I do want a family. But I never said I wanted to have my own kids.
I've actually said in that moment, I've said, I can't have babies. And then they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. What do you mean? And then that's when I'd be like, well, I'm trans.
There's my team.
So right.
And then they'd be like,
There's
oh,
the
shit.
tea.
Okay, I'm like, yeah, this is it. Like,
I've had the same conversation all the time. Full disclosure.
Can I just say one thing? A friend of mine, I have girlfriends who are transsexual who are married, and they've been married for about like over 10 years. And they've never told their husbands.
Shush.
Scandalous.
Really?
On the next, allegedly.
I have girlfriends.
We know
like
how to
that.
distort voices here.
But guess what? Guess what? I talked to her. I talked to one of my friends, and I talked to her every time we go out. She goes to the bathroom and she goes, "Girl, you don't think I cry?" And then she wipes her tears and she's like, "Come on, let's go."
Actressing too.
I'm bothered. You know what I mean? Guess what?
But I don't know what that does to mental health.
But if you feel it, you are, you know, if you feel it and you're living it.
Yeah.
And they're living it.
And that's the world that we should live in. But I just feel like there's so much stigma behind the idea of even having that experience that is more imposed on the men. You know, we are confident who we are. We know who we are. We live our lives. We're about it. But like what it does to men and like it shouldn't be a thing. And it's not a thing most of the time. The fact that it's a
thing because they're older and they're like, you know, in their 30s and 40s. And I feel like when you get to that age, they lived a life where you weren't supposed to tell them.
Right,
where we came from. Where you don't tell nobody because they're going to look at you. They're going to either beat you up or kill you. So when they come from that, it's, you know, they're not the new generation of girls that are just coming out.
No, they still need to like, they still have in their head, they still have to like keep it to myself.
Right, keep it to themselves. So that's what they've been living. So how are we supposed, who is anybody to say, you should tell them?
Right.
Because they're like, but this is my life. That's how I'm living it. And then the girls that are coming out now, they don't say anything, but they say everything.
It's always going to be a question.
They say everything. The girls that are coming out now, they say everything. They all want. They ask you what your pronouns are.
Yeah, it's like pride. It's like pronouns.
I don't know what that means.
It's just
I
like,
say goddess.
Yeah, my pronoun is goddess, and I would like the calamari for appetizer.
No. Can I ask you something?
Always.
As a cisgender
yes,
woman, now that we're talking about pronouns and stuff. Is there anything that did you feel that you ever have to disclose to a guy, but you don't do it? Or did you feel like is there anything?
Well, like me has always been not wanting to have kids. I have to tell that to somebody.
When you start dating them?
When I start dating them.
But when's the right time to tell them that?
I'm going to fuck you. And then if I feel like there's a future, then I'll tell you. I feel like that's my disclosure because you know I date people that are in my age range, so they're thinking about the future. Right. So that is something that I have to disclose right away, and also that I watch all the Housewives of Bravo.
Oh my god, that is so true. That is like a deep dirty secret.
I'm gonna take them.
I watch everything on Bravo, and that's like a huge disclosure for me. And every Love and Hip Hop.
Yes.
That's so true. Yeah, that's literally the worst fear.
When I get home,
oh my god, love you, darling.
Love you, darling. Love you,
thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
Girl
you.
Power.
Thank you for making my apartment smell amazing.
Wait, so what do you have coming up?
Yes.
What do you do? You're actressing? I know I see you in the rooms, girl. We're actressing.
We audition. We go in the same audition.
I know that's so funny.
There's a movie coming out called Play that I did. Jay Parmalani, he's the director and writer. I play a mother, which is gorgeous. I have a son.
Fabulous.
It's really naughty. It's a naughty film. It's like what is it called? Like a thriller.
I love a thriller.
We live for a thriller in these parts.
She goes through psychological thriller.
I love psychological.
Yeah. She's like mental. She's gone through a divorce. She takes it out on her son.
Ooh. And oh my god, this is your vengeance.
She treats her son like it's her husband. And the son's like, Mommy, it's not me. I'm not dad. And I'm like,
you're the one who spoke to the post.
Dinner's ready. Oh my god, and it's spam.
It's gonna be good. And then I did a show. I did a show called Model Boy that's out on YouTube, and I play a booking agent, a model agent, and that's a series. And then I did a movie called Dead Man's Barstool.
God damn it.
Dead Man's Barstool. This is really good. And Tally Lennox is it, Annie Lennox's daughter. And then it's written.
Sorry.
Written, directed by Dean Dempsey, and he did Candy Apple with neon music. Stop. And it's really good movie. It's called Dead Man's Barstool. Check it out.
God damn it.
Gorgeous.
Girl, she's busy.
Oh my god. Okay.
And then we're gonna there's more to come with us.
There's more to come always.
We're in the system. My manager says, you're swimming in the ocean, honey. Just keep swimming.
Yeah, keep it going, girl.
Just keep
you're
swimming.
Fucking
you're in it.
I can't swim, but I know how to do a mean doggy paddle.
Oh my god, I feel like we can talk about so much more, but we have to go. Well, we'll have her back. We're gonna have you back for
my god, I would hope.
Let's have a girls' night.
Do you like freestyle music?
I love freestyle.
Oh my god,
what are you gonna play?
Is it
some of your new stuff?
This week,
no, but
this weekend freestyle.
You know, it's funny because this is the second time your titles have kind of matched the theme.
They kind of do.
This is called,
all right.
What is it called?
Hit it.
Boy, you've been told. Transsexual. But like it's called Sat, S-A, and then fire. Not Sapphire, but Sat Fire.
And transsexual's hot and sexy.
I know. Let's bring it back. We're gonna bring it back.
Sexy.
Don't
be shy. Don't be scared. Just fucking tell him. Be like, he doesn't love it. Just be like, honey, I'm a transsexual.
Disclosure.
I'm hot.
Transsexual.
Thank you for coming.
Boy, you've been told. I told you.
And now what?
You're listening to Allegedly NYC. Allegedly. You're listening to Allegedly NYC. Allegedly.